so there's significant demand for those, and there's not enough supply. We do want to continue or to move forward with doing more underground conversions downtown. I think that it looks better. It's a better look at the downtown. It prevents us from having to do as much tree trimming, which, a lot of people would try to minimize that. And it's also safer for, fire department if they do have to get it into the air. So it's a little bit more cost up front, but you do save longer term, and you're less susceptible to outages during storms. So I want you all to know where we stand with that. We had a successful transition to our new service center at the end of Barry Boulevard behind Walmart. Everybody's very, very pleased with the facility, and we found that it works very well for operations, and it's going to work very well as we expand our fiber operations as well. So we're happy to be where we're at now. Also, back in 2018, there was a fund that was established for low-income relief. It's administered by the Christian Community Outreach. I want to let you all know that for fiscal year 2024 ending, the interest from that account generated $27,166 that was transferred to Christian Community Outreach for the benefit of folks that need help. So we're really glad to have been able to do that, to contribute. And so moving to fiscal year 2025, which we're beginning in this month, we project our beginning cash to be about $25 million. That is very close to our target of 180 days of operating reserves. And that is what counterparties and rating agencies like to see out of the utility. For the end of the fiscal year, in a year from now, we're projected to be slightly below the 180-day target. But we do believe we can manage that through our capital projects that we're doing, our capital replacement plan, based on our actual cash flow. So we also want to note, towards the end of the calendar year 2023, we saw a decrease in our industrial load. That returned back to what we consider normal, and we expect that to continue. So that's going to produce a little bit more revenue for fiscal year 2025 if that continues as we expect it to. For the payment in lieu of tax, the pilot, the contribution from Hempel to the city, that is going to increase to 6.09% of electric revenue, or about $2.6 million. The total cash payment will be around $1.8 million, and that's up from the current year of $1.4 million. So it's about a $400,000 increase. So the payment will be around $152,500 per month, and that's up from around $118,000 today. For power cost, towards the end of last year, we finished up our securing of new power contracts that become effective in this month. So these favorable new contracts are for the next 3 years, 100% hedging our load, or our forecasted load. To the extent we don't use what we think we will need, the benefit of us being in the MISO market is that we can receive revenue for that excess energy, and that revenue is passed back through the power cost adjustment to our customers. So we are already working on and looking at what we're going to do June 2027 beyond, but that's where we're focused now. You all have heard us talk a lot about advanced metering infrastructure. That project is also very close to getting kicked off. We're very near a final agreement, and that has been awarded to Tantalus, and it is a turnkey type project, and we expect that that's going to be built out or changed out right behind our fiber to the home build, which is the next topic that I want to talk a little bit about. The progress, and we get calls frequently. We're very excited to start signing people up for this service, and we know people are interested to have it, excited to have it. We had a lady call the other day, and she was saying that she was actually considering moving because of frustration she had with her provider, and our contact, the person that they talked to, said, well, let me look and see where you're at. And it just so happened that she's in the first design area with service expected to be available in July. So we're building this out in 11 different design areas around town that kind of overlay where the power is served off the feeder circuit. So the first design area, number 1, which is about from 2nd Street north, it extends up to about the Cloverleaf and goes over to North Adams, in that section, that area. That is complete, and now we're working on the building system, getting other things in order, and we expect that, and there's a little bit of that has to be done over a railroad crossing that we've just got that permit in place. So we look for July, right after the holiday, July 4th, to begin signing people up in Design Area 1. And Design Area 2 is very, very far along in its build out. And that area starts from about where the hospital is and extends all the way up the strip and to between the river and Highway 41. And so from there, Design Area 3, which has already begun as well, is going from 2nd Street south down to around Cherry Street and kind of covering that area, South Green and to the east. And so from there, we'll build out about 1 month per design area. So the target is to be done summer of 2025. And so we'll continue to keep you all updated. You'll see some marketing materials that come out, and we're again very, very glad to be able to do that. And thank you all for the support. We couldn't have done it without you, and we anticipate we've got a pretty aggressive target for revenue on that business, and I expect we're gonna get very close, if not achieve it or surpass it. The last thing I want to share with you is something that Commissioner Pruitt you'd asked about before. It's the residential attic insulation program. We're very, very glad to be able to do this, and it's a combination of 2 pieces. So what we're asking folks to do, and I would encourage everybody to do this, regardless of whether or not you qualify for attic insulation rebate, what I'm calling it. It's an energy audit, and you download it from our website. We're going to share it on our Facebook page. You basically go through the different steps to check off, what kind of lighting do you have, what kind of check for air gaps and stuff like that. So if you're using a certain amount of energy, basically 2 times the square footage of your residence, we're going to reimburse you for the actual insulation to insulate your attic. And we're targeting, we want to see R38 as a minimum R value for attic insulation. That is the building code standard. We want to help residents get to that level, because the highest use of energy, both electric and gas, for our residential customers is HVAC. So, this will help, reduce folks' dependence on, heating with gas as well as heating with electric or cooling with electric. So the materials are out there on our website. If you look at energy programs, attic insulation, download the audit worksheet, submit the application, and we'll go from there. So I'm trying to think of what else. That covers the main points. Certainly happy to take questions that you have and expand on anything that you're more interested to know more about.
Brad, I have a question, if you don't mind.
Sure.
And sorry if I missed it, but can you explain or re-explain what someone has to do to qualify to be able to access that program for insulation?
Yes, I was a little bit, maybe not as clear as I wanted to be on that. Let me just pull out the sheet so I get this correct. So we are looking at folks that have usage at or above 200% of what we consider normal. Okay, so if you have a 1,000 square foot home, if you're using around 1,000 kilowatt hours in a month, we consider that, and that is not we consider, that is about what the average residential customer uses on our system. So if you have a 1,000 square foot home and you're using 2,000 kilowatt hours a month, then you would qualify, you'd hit the threshold for this attic insulation program. And we do have, we've looked at some of the usage, and we have residential customers that use well in excess of that 200%. So if same thing goes with larger houses. It's basically 2 times the square foot.
Thank you, sir. Do we have any other questions or comments from the commission?
Brad, you said it's already up on the website?
It is.
Okay.
It is, and we'll put it out there, and try to push it out through the social media, through the Facebook page we have now. It's getting a little bit more. We're trying to communicate through that platform a little bit, just to give people some updates and news as it comes. So you'll see that there, that method too.
Go ahead and sign me up for internet.
We'll put you on the
Hurry
list.
up.
What's on you?
I'm in the first one.
Last.
Good deal.
Number
Any
nine. Number
other
one.
questions or comments?
9th Street.
Brad, we want to thank you for continuing to be such a good partner to the city. Our utility partners are invaluable in terms of economic development and the services that you provide. And with the AMI and also with the build out of the broadband network, I think that people in Henderson are really getting a lot of value, especially with the lower comparative rates that we have here with HMT&L. People are really getting a good value for what you guys are bringing to the table, and we appreciate it. So thank you very much for bringing it.
We very much appreciate the comments, and you're welcome. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Well, my wife's down, Brad. I can't wait to tell her.
Mayor,
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
this is Dawn. Randall is here, and I think he's just here with Brad today, and just for the commission edification. There's going to be a hearing tomorrow, a rehearing, not really a rehearing, a hearing on one of our issues with Big Rivers tomorrow. Is there anything else you want to say about that?
Just that we've been, Randall Redding, General Counsel for Hempel, we've been asked to, the court has issued an order for us to appear back in Franklin Circuit Court to address issues they have. I think Don was concerned that a ruling could, I guess, theoretically be issued tomorrow, so we wanted to make sure that you knew that there was a hearing set for Frankfurt tomorrow at 9:45 Eastern Time to address these issues that have been ongoing. The reason we're being asked back is probably for questions the court may have, but for a representation of the matter.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck, Randall.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Ah, damn. Read it anyway.
All right, moving on to the second reads. We have a second reading for taxation involving occupational license.
Ordinance number 23-24, ordinance amending Chapter 21, Taxation, Article 3, Business and Occupational License Fees. An ordinance amending Chapter 21, Taxation, Article 3, Business and Occupational License Fees, Section 21-31, Definitions, and Section 21-34, Exempted Activities of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Henderson.
Do we have a motion to approve, please?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any comments or questions? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Thomas?
Aye.
Commissioner Pruitt?
Aye.
Commissioner Witt?
Aye.
Commissioner Vowles?
Aye.
Mayor Staten?
Aye. Next up, we have a second reading for Parks and Recreation involving special events.
Ordinance number 24-24, ordinance amending Chapter 17, Parks and Recreation Special Events. An ordinance amending Chapter 17, Parks and Recreation, Article 3, Special Events, Section 17-45, Definitions, Section 17-50, Application for Permit, Section 17-51, Occupational License, Section 17-55, Contents of Permit, and Section 17-57, Possession of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Henderson.
We have a motion to approve, please.
So moved.
Second.
We have a second. We have a motion and a second. Any comments or questions? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Thomas?
Aye.
Commissioner Pruitt?
Aye.
Commissioner Witt?
Aye.
Commissioner Vowles?
Aye.
Mayor Staten?
Aye. Next up, we have a second reading of an ordinance for public utility improvement.
Ordinance number 25-24, ordinance accepting public improvements. An ordinance accepting public utility improvements consisting of potable water improvements for Copper Creek Condominium Water Main Extension Project.
We have a motion to approve, please.
So moved. Second.
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 We have a motion and a second. Any comments or questions? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Thomas,
Aye.
Commissioner Pruitt,
Aye.
Commissioner Witt,
Aye.
Commissioner Vowles,
Aye.
Mayor Staten.
Aye. And last on the second reads, we have a second reading of annual compensation for elected officials.
Ordinance number 26-24, ordinance establishing annual adjustments in the compensation of the mayor and board of commissioners of the city of Henderson. An ordinance establishing annual adjustments in the compensation of the mayor and board of commissioners of the city of Henderson.
We have a motion to approve, please.
So moved.
Second.
We have a second. Got a motion and a second. Any comments or questions on this one? I wanted to offer a little bit of explanation on this one. So for the last few years on elected official salaries, we've been giving basically what we give our employees, which is a cost of living adjustment. What we're doing with this particular ordinance is, all that we're doing with this particular ordinance is we're just writing down what we're doing. And so elected officials going forward, instead of having to decide as part of the budget process, we're putting it in ordinance that we are going to give elected officials a raise that's equal to either the CPI or the cost of living adjustment, whichever is lower, basically, in so many words. And so that's a summary of what we're doing here. We're not doing anything new. We're just writing down what we have been doing. If there are no other questions or comments, I'll take a roll call, please.
Commissioner Thomas,
Aye.
Commissioner Pruitt,
Aye.
Commissioner Witt,
Aye.
Commissioner Vowles,
Aye.
Mayor Staten.
Aye. Next up, we have a first reading adopting the fiscal year 25 budget.
Okay. Let's see here.
Adopting budget and appropriation ordinance for the 2024 through 2025 fiscal year. Budget and appropriation ordinance for the fiscal year commencing July 1st, 2024 and ending June 30th, 2025 for the city of Henderson, Kentucky. Whereas the city manager has prepared a proposed annual budget for fiscal year commencing July 1st, 2024 and ending June 30th, 2025 pursuant to KRS 83A.150, and whereas KRS 91A.030 requires the adoption of the budget and the appropriation ordinance by the Board of Commissioners based upon the budget submitted by the city manager. Now therefore be it ordained by the city of Henderson, Kentucky as follows. Number 1, the budget submitted to the Board of Commissioners by the city manager is hereby adopted and approved, and said budget is incorporated herein by reference, and 3 copies thereof signed by the mayor shall be kept on file in the office of the city clerk as part of the public record of the city. Number 2, there is hereby appropriated from the general and special fund accounts of the city of Henderson and allocated to the various funds of the city the following amounts. Fiscal 2025 budget appropriation, general fund expenditure total $36,493,000. Transfer to PWI $1,451,000. Transfer to mass transit $608,000. Transfer to construction fund $1,212,000. Transfer to emergency communications $879,000. Transfer to police and fire pension fund $342,000. Transfer to civil service pension $74,000. Transfer to cemetery $311,000. Transfer to bond fund $2,146,000. Total general fund $43,516,000. Natural gas fund $19,919,000. Health reimbursement arrangement $180,000. Civil service pension fund $80,000. Police and fire pension fund $342,000. Cemetery fund $604,000. Health insurance fund $8,570,000. Bond fund $9,427,000. Public way improvement fund $2,203,000. Construction fund $20,059,000. Hard operating fund $2,036,000. Sanitation fund $5,499,000. Emergency communications fund $2,432,000. Sports complex fund $489,000. Tourism commission fund $350,000. Community development fund $823,000. Police investigation fund $93,000. Number 3, the number and classifications of city employees as recited in the annual budget is approved as presented. Number 4, the city manager is authorized to hire an additional 2 police officers when it is deemed necessary by the chief of police and the city manager due to the length of training necessary for this position. Number 5, the city manager is authorized to hire an additional 1 firefighter when it is deemed necessary by the fire chief and the city manager due to the length of training necessary for this position. Number 6, the city manager is authorized to hire additional non-hazardous duty personnel for key positions when deemed necessary for succession training purposes, and the expenditures for the additional hires do not exceed the appropriations granted. And number 7, this ordinance shall become effective on July 1st, 2024.
The fastest you've ever done.
I was about to say, I can't see you as well as I could if I'm sitting next to you. It sounds like you drank a lot of milk. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Do we have any, I know we've discussed the budget now for about a month at various meetings, but do we have any additional questions or comments regarding the budget? Hearing none, I'll take a roll call, please.
Commissioner Thomas,
Aye.
Commissioner Pruitt,
Aye.
Commissioner Whit,
Aye.
Commissioner Vowles,
Aye.
Mayor Staten.
Aye. Next up, we have a first reading for this, an ordinance adopting the Henderson Water Utility fiscal year 2025 budget.
Ordinance number 28-24, ordinance adopting Henderson Water Utility Budget. Budget and appropriation ordinance for the fiscal year commencing July 1st, 2024 and ending June 30th, 2025 for Henderson Water Utility of the City of Henderson, Kentucky.
Do we have a motion to approve, please?
So moved.
Do we
Second.
have a second?
Second.
Do we have any comments or questions?
Bart is here.
Yes. I can't speak
Laura,
that
if you'd like
fast,
to-
but
I can't either.
I'm sorry, Mayor.
That's okay. I was just going to invite you up to offer some questions. I'm having a tough time seeing all of you guys on the screen here. Do you have any comments you want to make about your budget?
Just you guys have a copy of our budget. It went to the Water and Sewer Commission on May 20th, was approved. Should explain everything in the executive summary. Actual revenue will go up this year. So there's something to look forward to there. Other than that, we have a couple of large capital projects, Washington Vine water main and sewer main repair or replacement. The AMI water meter installation, that's coming through as well. That should finish up our water meters, all 11,500. And those are kind of the big ticket items in the budget. So open to any questions.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments from the commission? I want to extend the same gratitude to you and the water utility that I mentioned, Brad Pickett and the electric utility earlier. We appreciate so much your all's partnership with everything, literally. So many decisions that we have at the city involve you guys. Can't tell you enough how much we appreciate you and the work that you do over at Henderson Water Utility. So thank you for submitting your budget to us for approval. With that, we'll take a roll call, please.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bob.
Commissioner Thomas,
Aye.
Commissioner Pruitt,
Aye.
Commissioner Whit,
Aye.
Commissioner Vowles,
Aye.
Mayor Staten.
Aye. Next up, we have a municipal order for mowing.
Municipal order number 50-24, municipal order awarding bid for mowing of Canoe Creek and other tributaries to Hazix Construction Company Incorporated of Henderson, Kentucky.
Got a motion to approve, please.
So moved.
We have a second?
Second.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. Any comments or questions?
I have one comment, Mayor. This is a recommendation from the Flood Mitigation Board to both the city and the county. The county will have it on their next agenda, which is June the 11th. So it's subject to them approving it as well. And as a reminder, it's a 50-50 split of expense to each entity.
All right, thank you, sir. And with that, we'll take a roll call, please.
Commissioner Thomas,
Aye.
Commissioner Pruitt,
Aye.
Commissioner Whit,
Aye.
Commissioner Vowles,
Aye.
Mayor Staten.
Aye. So next week, I think we're going to prepare something for the agenda in relation to something that we talked about last week, and that is the final tally for us to vote on the recommendations for distributions of this year's grant cycle. And we're not allowed to take any action on that today, being that it's not officially on the agenda for action. However, we thought it might be useful to reserve this spot on the agenda just to have a brief, non-actionable discussion regarding each commissioner's discretionary pot of money that we discussed last week. And I'm going to go in order of the roll call and call on the commissioners. And if you don't mind, I think everybody has $3,000. Buzzy chose to not offer a suggestion for his $3,000, and so I had two suggestions for two different $3,000 pots of money. But we'll start with Commissioner Thomas. Commissioner Thomas, do you have an idea on where you would like to see us offer your additional $3,000 of discretionary money?
I sure do. Christian outreach. They reached
All right.
they reached 27,000 people last year. And
Uh-huh.
what I'm hearing is they're getting more middle income people now that need help. And no.
Good deal. I think that's a good thought, sir. Commissioner Pruitt.
New Hope, Animal Shelter. And I think too, maybe a split with, Health First and AKZ on us events.
Gotcha. Do you have so I will tell you, I have a feeling that one of the other commissioners might mention AKZ in his recommendation. And so unless you want to double up on that, would you like to split your recommendation between New Hope and Health First? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, we can do that. And you got AKZ?
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good. Commissioner Witt.
The Homeless Coalition. I think when we talked last week, we talked about trying to fund at least our half of trying to fund a case manager, and their request for the grant process, which was a little before we agreed on perhaps funding something for the case manager, was I think some expenses that the case manager would have in terms of mileage and some other things to try to reimburse to get them to really be able to travel around the county and really do in city and do good work. And so I think that's a good use of $3,000.
Thank you, sir. So just to clarify, you are wanting to do $3,000 in addition to our half of the annual salary for the case manager. Is that accurate?
Correct, yes.
Mayor, for clarification, in our budget, we had
Okay.
18,000, and with the addition of the 3,000, we'll put them over, I think, the requested 20 that they ask of each city and the county.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we could go back and look. I mean, my understanding was that they had and go back and look at the timing. I thought they had a salary they were trying to pay, but then they also had additional expenses that they were trying to do through the grant process.
Which I think is correct.
I think
So, yeah, I mean, if it's a duplication of it, then I would obviously take that back, but if not,
But that brings, I think that total request was 40, if I remember correctly, from the city and the county.
right.
So we would end up giving them 21,000 in lieu of the 18, which
Okay.
the difference is your
Yeah.
3,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think officially it was 17,500. So then if that is accurate, then we're going to give a total of 20,500 as a result of your recommendation, and that would help cover expenses over and above our half of the salary. Is that what we're hearing? Is that accurate? That way we can prepare that for next week.
Well, in the budget, we put 18,000, so it'll be a total of 21.
21. Okay.
Yes.
Sounds good. Commissioner Val.
I had selected AKZ. I think they had, we're trying to keep kind of a boots on the ground advocate for the East End area, and, wanted to provide some additional funding so they can try to keep that active as much as possible.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. And I think it really shows a lot of where the heart of the commission is, that this was mentioned twice, once by Commissioner Pruitt, once by Commissioner Valls. They're having challenges that they're experiencing within the organization right now. And but it sounds, for all intents and purposes, it sounds like they're going to pull through everything and be just fine and continue to be a wonderful organization. And I think they need our support now more than ever. So I think it's a good recommendation. I have two different $3,000 recommendations. If it pleases the kitchen, one for myself, and then one that Buzzy is not going to choose to take. On the first one, I'd like to suggest $3,000 for Infinite Hope, which is a suicide prevention and mitigation organization here in town. And then for the other $3,000, I'd like for it to go to a nonprofit called the Sons of Henderson, which is an organization that puts on Summerfest, which is a new and upstarting music festival here in town that needs a little boost to kind of get off the ground. In addition to that, I wanted to have make a brief comment about something I'd like for us to consider mid-year. I'd like for the commission to think about going forward toward mid-year. It doesn't mean that I'm obligating it to that because we all vote separately and it may not pass. I've had a few conversations with some members, some of the volunteers for the Handy Fest, and they have talked about a little bit of concern that they have for sponsorship money going down and expenses going up. And there's some concern for the long-term viability of continuing the Handy Fest as it has always operated. And so because of that, and because of its long, rich history in our city, what I'd like for the commission to consider, but more for a mid-year suggestion that we can go back and revisit next week, is I'd like for the commission to consider, in addition to the money that we have allocated through the grant cycle, I would like for the commission to consider being the complete sponsor for the lead act for the program. And just to kind of give you an idea of how much that amounts to, typically a headliner act for Handy the last few years has come in around $20,000 to $25,000, and so it's a heavy expense. But it's also a long running and long-standing. Just want to put on everyone's radar that I'd like for us to talk about, but maybe a few months down the road. With that, I don't see anything else on today's agenda, and it is a special call meeting, so we will move on to an executive session. We have need for an executive session.
Mayor, before we go in, can he froze up?
Mayor,
Can you hear?
Mayor, we're not going to have executive session.
I think you should take that off.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, and
Hey,
do we have a motion to adjourn, please?
Mayor, before we adjourn real quick, I just want to tell you guys something. On that, piggybacking what he was talking about, taking over the headliner, I did call Chris Stapleton's manager, and I just wanted to know what it would cost to get into Henderson. And he told me $1 million. So I'm looking for a sponsor. And do y'all know anybody that can get $1 million to help sponsor, get Chris Stapleton here for a free concert for everybody in Henderson? Let me know.
You take a check.
I better feel that thing.
I'll tell you something, Commissioner Pruitt. That's a really good example of how good of a job that the people with our music festivals do, picking out acts that are on the cusp of becoming something big. In fact, I think Chris Stapleton actually played at the Bluegrass Festival a few years ago. Is that accurate here in Henderson?
Wasn't that up on top? I thought.
Does anybody know? I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Owensboro, maybe.
You talking about the Independence when they did it out there?
He might have done an
I believe he
Owensboro.
was part of a band. I believe he was part of a band that had before he made it big, and he was actually in Henderson several years ago, if I'm not mistaken. But they do a really good job of stretching their money out as far as they can go with all these festivals, and I really appreciate the work that they do. Before I ask for a motion to adjourn, I guess I should ask: is there any other business or any other discussion from the commission?
Million.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn, please.
So moved.
Second.
We got a motion and a second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
And Mayor, may I have
Meeting
permission?
adjourned. Thank you.
Mayor, may I have permission to sign your name to the call?